Hello and welcome back to The Broken Doll, and I'm coming to you with an update on these three dolls here. Okay, they've been pretty much, the Dremel work is pretty much done on them, but I want to talk about some of the problems that I had, especially on this little gal over right here, this one here. Wow, I had some problems with her, but anyways, they're pretty much ready to be spackled, and little issues looked after, like fingers added on. I need to do some I got lots of finger work on all three of these dolls that need to be done. This is the better grade right here, Patsy doll. They're both marked, and this one here is a lesser grade of composition. It looked like she got one nice leg that was really nice and glued, and then, or how would this go? This goes on this side, this goes on that side, right? So no, that doesn't work out at all. Anyways, okay, I was just thinking something in my head, but you can see that this is the better of the composition. This one over here is the better composition. This is becoming lesser. This one really less. It is really a lot of problems. Let's take a look. I lost all the fingers off this hand. All the fingers just fell off. They just crumbled. Like it's so webby in there. It's just, yeah, it just can't hold fingers. Well, those ones anyways. The ones I will put on will be better with Milliput and everything. These ones wanted to come off. You could tell they were struggling to stay on. I had a little problem up in here, but any more pressure on them, I think I would have lost, like this one here. I think they both would have been the same if I kept going at with the pick, and I just stopped. Another thing that needs to be done is, this is a little bit on the loose side, this hook, so I'm going to put some Milliput around here. You can see it's a little bit cracky, but not cracking, but the hole's a little bit too big. You know, it moves around. When you string it, you want to make sure that you're stringing the hooks are in there really good. So I always test out the hooks. If they're in there really good, I don't bother, but I really try to make sure the hooks are really doing good here, and they seem to be all fine except this one. So when I get the Milliput out, I'll make sure I go around that and you know, make sure it's going to stay where it's supposed to be. But other than that, that's been the problem with these dolls here, is fingers. Oh my goodness, fingers are huge on these dolls. I even on the best of the best here, she even has a finger that's a little bit off, you know. So it goes with the territory. These are what? You know, almost 100-year-old dolls, you know, so we're getting close to 100 years. They're not in the 90s. So, you know, the little girls that owned them are probably gone. You know, I will say they are gone. I'm talking first owners on them, ownership on them. So, you know, yeah, they were probably handed down to the next little gal, but she could be still kicking. So, but yeah, it is something, just the grade of composition really stands out. This is such poor composition. It's just, where was I on here? Is it one of the hands, or was it a leg? I think it was a leg, yeah, the foot down here. Is it in here? Right in here. Just, it's awful stuff. I don't know what that is. And I think I have one foot with more defined toes, so I'm going to have to define these toes here. I'm going to have to do something to make sure the toes, oh, well, just a little bit of lines there. There were none. I didn't do it. It was just the way it was. This foot just didn't have toes. So I'm going to have to make her some toes. So I'm going to do that in the next few minutes here. So, but, see if I can get some definition on this foot a little bit. Not that you see the foot a lot. They wear socks and shoes, but you still want to make sure your work is complete. You know, I'm going to try anyways to give her a few little, you know, just some lines in there. But, yeah, it's something else. So, but, very interesting stuff when it comes to, composition and what you're working with. The sawdust and glue is what it is. Sawdust and glue. It's cheap. Every place there was a sawmill, and every corner had a sawmill, and that's just how it was. And you know, you can, it's not the finest of material, you know, but it worked, and it made dolls, and it put dolls in little girls' arms, and it's putting dolls in our arms today to fix and to try to get them back. But she's going to come back beautiful. We're going to, I just really disappointed in the grade of composition. So this doll here probably went for really cheap, I bet. You know, she wasn't a very expensive doll for its day, but you know, maybe mom and dad couldn't afford an F&B Patsy doll, so this was the next best thing, is to come over to a littler doll like this, and something maybe they could afford a little bit better, you know. you know, you never know what the story is behind it, but you know, or you know, this happened also, you know, the little girl had an F&B doll and she wanted company dolls with it, you know, friends, you know, there's a nice little friend doll, you know, the little sister or something like that you can make up. But anyways, it is what it is. And but we deal with this stuff when we become restorers, and this is stuff that we have to look at and we have to deal with it. And but we're, you know, they're coming, they're gonna be beautiful when they're done. It's just a matter now of getting them to that place, you know. So, and building fingers is going to be the next. I can't even, I'm not even going to start on, I was going to start spackling them, but I think we're going to deal with fingers next. Fingers is the next thing. And then we'll deal with spackling and fixing little bumps, you know, little things like this with the Milliput too, you know, filling that up. And, you know, we got some little areas we need to look at here. But, you know, there's another one right up there on her head. She has another bump there, you know, she got bopped in a few places, and it seems like she crumbled really easily. I can see why. These fingers you could just put a knife right through on this poor grade. She's a poor grade composition. This leg is nice. She got a really nice leg here, but the other leg isn't so nice, you know. But her body is not bad, but her arms are the same grade as this here. So, you know, they probably had one good leg left. She was at the end of the deal, and she got the last good leg, and then they said, okay, give us the crappy legs, Bob. Send them over, Bob. And then this is what this little Patsy doll got. But hey, it is what it is. We work with what we have. And you know, you got to be careful how much pressure you put on those fingers, because they want to break off, you know. And I don't want to break any more off than what I did. I couldn't help it. I hardly did anything. There was a slice going right across them. Shoo! I just took them and snapped them off. Like, it didn't even have to snap them. There's no snap. It's more or less just came off. But anyways, it is what it is. But we're doing good here. We've got a system going. As soon as I start working on these and getting their fingers on it and they're into the spackling stage, that's when I'm going to start Dolly Record and my other doll at the same time. I want to go out and get some bins. I like these white bins right here. These are the bins that I use right here, these white bins. And they're just from the Dollar Tree, you know, or dollar store. Where'd I get this? Oh, it doesn't say. But, yeah, it's... But anyways, yeah, so anyways, I just buy these, and that segregates each doll and keeps everything that they have to them. But these can all go together because they're of the same family, so not a big deal. I can pretty much tell where the parts go. So anyways, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy seeing the differences of the composition, and I hope you can see it on camera here, just the differences as we go through from, you know, body to body, you know, and you can just see it. Like, even when sanding it, little lines showed up, but that will all be covered when you spackle. When you go over and just spackle this all hides away, you know. You don't see all this, you know. A lot of this will be, you won't see because of the spackling. We'll fill in all that, and we'll sand her all down, and we'll get her looking good again, and the paint will just slide right over that then when you spackle like that. But at one time I would have been Milliputting all that, and I don't want to do that anymore. Milliput is nice, but it's expensive, number one. I don't want to put the price out, like, I don't want to make it about money. And I just said that. It's not something I like doing. Yeah, Milliput costs a little bit more. Spackling is cheaper, but it's not always about the money. It's what works well too. Sure, Milliput costs a little bit more, and I'm going to always say that, but there's a beauty about spackling and how it fills in things, and it's softer to work with, more gentler, and it does the job. It really works on these, especially this type of a doll here who has this type of problems. Spackling is wonderful for it. I would at one time Milliput the whole leg, and that was costing me a lot of money, and it did. And I didn't know about spackling at the time. And then as soon as there was a young girl, or maybe an older lady, I don't know who it was. I remember somebody on my channel said, have you ever heard of spackling? And I just went, oh, no. And that's when I talked to my husband about it, and he told me what he used it for when he was into renovating houses with a company he worked for back years ago. And how they use spackling. And I said, I want to go get some. And they had little containers of it, and that's how I first, you know, well, actually I bought a bigger one, and I don't buy big now. I just buy the smaller ones for myself. And it's something just how useful of a tool it is. And it's like Milliput went to the back, but never, you don't get rid of it because it has its place. And I find my amount of money I'm putting out on Milliput has gone way down because I have found other tools that work just as good and I like a lot better and I like the outcome of it a lot better. So that being said, there you go, you know. So it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about how it works. Sometimes it can be about money, you know, but I don't want I don't want to put on my dolls that burden of money, because if I need Milliput, I will use it. But now I'm starting to use it for other things and other ways. And that's just how you develop over time, learning your tools and everything, and what works for you. Now, the next person would say, well, I prefer to Milliput more. And that's okay, than Milliput. You know, me, I rather spackle more than that, and fill up little dots, little areas where my knife got into with the spackling, than having a whole great big thing of Milliput. Milliput is a little bit harder to work with compared to spackling. Spackling just melts right in and it really works nice. But anyways, it's to each their own, and you have to find your own route, and what works for me may not be working for you. But if you like what I do, try it. You might just like it too. All right, thank you for joining me. A lot more of this to come. All right, bye-bye. Oh, subscribe, and if you like what you see here today, bye-bye.